My name is Jeff Zahrt. I'm a senior project manager at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, and I work for hospital administration within that organization. What that means is I support and run projects that affect the entire organization or several departments and clinics. So the projects that I deal with are all strategic projects that encompass the entire hospital. As a project manager, my role is to see to it that all the planning is done correctly, all the documentation is done correctly. The team lead is doing the things that they are supposed to be doing with the team and task-oriented and deliverables, and they're staying on track, and they're completing the things that they've been asked to complete. And so oftentimes a team lead will veer off track because everyone has an agenda and they might have a personal agenda that might take them one way or another. And so ethically, it's my job to make sure that they stay on track. And if not, I have to intervene as best I possibly can and try to bring them back to the tracks and make sure they stay on the rails. And if not, then I have to figure out how best to solve it, escalate it, and not lose their trust and their respect along the way. And an organization, I had a project, actually several projects that all overlapped each other. So they all kind of fed into the same program, meaning that they were all significant, they were all strategic, and they were all encompassing the entire organization, but in different aspects. However, completing one was beneficial to completing another one, which was beneficial to completing the third one, which rounded back to completing the first one. So they all overlapped. In this one instance, a team lead, in doing their research, determined that what they needed to do was really what another team lead was doing. So I ended up having two team leads doing, in essence, the same body of work and coming up with different conclusions. And it didn't benefit either project. And the one team lead who was veering off of course wasn't accomplishing the task that he was supposed to accomplish. It was way, way out of bounds. And so I had intervened probably half a dozen times trying to correct the thought process and what he was focused on and where he was going and what he wanted to make a recommendation for. And he just wouldn't have anything of it. He was set in his ways. So I had to tactfully and ethically figure out a way to correct his course. Without him losing trust or respect in me. I didn't want to throw him under the bus, and I didn't want him to do it publicly and lose face with the senior leaders. So I had to go a different route, which was I had to go through senior leadership and get a different person within senior leadership, which happened to be the CEO, to help correct his path without him really knowing it. You know, again, it comes down to ethically, how do I do this? How do I broach this subject without just throwing the person under the bus? The risk to my position into the dilemma, as a project manager, there's all sorts of different types of project managers. And generally speaking, project managers aren't given the authority to have people that report directly to them. In other words, everyone that's on my teams, none of them report to me. I'm not their direct supervisor. I have no hierarchical or organizational chart where anybody technically reports to me. And I don't supervise anyone. The only way I can get things done is by influence, trust, and respect. So everything I get done through people. And the only way to do that is they have to trust, and they have to trust me, and they have to respect me, and they have to trust that the path that I'm taking them down and where I'm coaching them to and guiding them to is the correct path. If I get that wrong, which always happens, I mean, you always make mistakes, but if you get it wrong on the wrong side and you lose their trust, they will no longer they'll no longer do what you're coaching them to do. They'll no longer take your coaching or your guidance, your consultative experience, and trust that it's the correct route to go. So as a result, they'll go off on their own thing. They'll follow their own agenda, which oftentimes differs from the agenda that I've been given as the project manager and the rails that I've set for the project. And those rails are usually determined by senior leadership. But if I can't get them to follow that, the project goes off course. We end up wasting what could be millions and millions of dollars. Regardless, we still end up wasting thousands and thousands of dollars just in salaries and time alone. And depending on who's on the team, it could become just a huge tornado and a great time suck. And it's detrimental to the team, it's detrimental to the organization, detrimental to the department, and then nobody wants to use us. And our entire goal is to help make sure that they're successful in doing whatever project happens to be done.